The rain hammered the rusted roof of the old service station like frantic fingers begging to be heard, and the scent of oil, wet pavement, and coming trouble hung heavily in the air. As he locked the register for the night, the single-dad veteran, Ethan Hale, felt that familiar tightening in his chest, the strange sixth sense the battlefield had carved into him. It wasn't a memory, it wasn't fear, it was intuition whispering that tonight, something was coming. Something he wasn't prepared for. And then he heard it, small, uneven footsteps, the kind that came from a child running too hard, breathing too fast, carrying too much fear for someone so young. Before he could react, a drenched little girl stumbled inside, clutching a tiny pink backpack against her chest as if the whole world were trying to rip it away from her. Her eyes, wide, tear-glossed, frantic, locked onto his. In that frozen moment, Ethan recognized the look instantly. It was the look of someone hunted. Call to action number 1, after the hook/intro. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of helping those in need, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to channel name right now. It truly helps support stories that inspire hope and humanity. Ethan had seen many types of fear in his life, fear on the battlefield, fear in the eyes of his own daughter on the day he'd told her their mother wasn't coming back, fear in the mirror on the nights when his PTSD gripped him tight. But the fear in this little girl's trembling face dug deeper than any of those memories. She clutched the backpack as though it contained her life itself. She begged him, not with words but with that desperate, pleading expression, to hide her. And as lightning split the sky behind her, Ethan instinctively moved, guiding her inside, locking the door, and drawing the blinds. The world outside turned pitch black, but inside, something began to stir, something protective, instinctive, something he hadn't felt since his daughter, Lily, was that little. The girl could barely breathe between sobs as she pressed herself into the far corner of the service station, shaking as though the very ground beneath her was falling apart. Ethan kept his distance, lowering his voice, softening his tone, reminding himself that children broke easily when they were scared. She whispered only 2 words at first, 2 words that sent cold needles down Ethan's spine. She said she was running and that she needed safety. He crouched to her level, trying to steady her trembling breaths, and piece by piece she revealed the fragments of her fear. She said that someone was coming. Someone who wasn't supposed to find her. Someone she called Dad. That single word changed the entire atmosphere of the room, filling Ethan with a cautious dread. He'd dealt with dangerous men before, men who carried cruelty like a second skin, but a father who could make his child run through a storm? That was a different kind of monster. As the storm intensified, Ethan noticed the girl's backpack. She clutched it so tightly that her knuckles were turning white. When he gently asked her what was inside, she hesitated as though sharing that secret might put her life at risk. Eventually, exhaustion overcame fear, and she allowed Ethan to take it from her trembling hands. What he found inside didn't make sense at first. Stacks of documents, envelopes of money, more money than a child should ever be carrying, and a small metal flash drive taped to a handwritten note. The note said only one thing: don't let him find this. Ethan felt the air leave his lungs. This wasn't just a runaway child, this was evidence. Something serious. Something dangerous. Something people would chase. The girl said her name was Ellie. She was 9 years old, thin as a stick, and carried bruises in places bruises shouldn't be. As she explained her story in broken pieces, Ethan began to understand that her father wasn't just strict, he was violent, angry, and involved with people who lived outside the law. Ellie had found something she wasn't supposed to see: financial records, photos, documents that revealed crimes her father was entangled in. She didn't fully understand what she'd discovered, but she'd overheard enough to know she was in danger. Her instinct had been to run before he could realize what she had taken, and that instinct had probably saved her life. Ethan felt something burning in his chest, a mixture of rage, protectiveness, and a deep ache he hadn't felt in years. He had seen too many innocent lives destroyed by men who believed power was more valuable than compassion. He thought of Lily, asleep at home with his neighbor watching her for the night. He imagined her alone, scared, running from someone she trusted to protect her. And that thought nearly broke him. The storm outside wasn't letting up. The service station was isolated, miles from the nearest police station, and cell reception flickered like a dying light. But Ethan knew one thing: Ellie wasn't going back outside. Not tonight. Not until he understood what kind of danger she was truly in. While she rested on an old blanket, Ethan examined the documents more closely. He recognized names, dangerous ones. He recognized patterns: money laundering, trafficking routes, offshore accounts. This wasn't the kind of trouble you simply called the local sheriff about. This was federal. And this little girl had walked right into the only place where fate had positioned someone trained to protect her. Hours passed, and Ethan listened to every detail she shared. Every word tightened his resolve. He saw himself not as a veteran, not as a mechanic, but as a father. A protector. Someone fate had placed in Ellie's path for a reason. When headlights suddenly cut through the storm and stopped outside the station, Ethan's pulse hammered. Ellie froze, whispering the one word she feared most: Dad. A tall figure stepped out of the car, his silhouette sharp and heavy through the rain-blurred windows. He walked with purpose, slow, controlled steps that reminded Ethan of the kind of men who hurt without remorse. Instinct took over. He positioned Ellie behind the counter, hidden between boxes, and whispered that he wouldn't let anything happen to her. She clung to his sleeve for a moment, as if trying to borrow courage from his calm, steady presence. The man entered the station with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He scanned the room like someone who believed everything around him belonged to him. He claimed he was looking for his daughter, described her in a tone that painted her as troublesome, ungrateful, disobedient. But his act didn't fool Ethan for a second. He saw the tension in the man's jaw, the way his hand lingered near his coat pocket, the aggression beneath his false courtesy. When he tried to search the building, Ethan blocked his path, making it clear that no one was entering the back. The air thickened. The man's facade cracked. He threatened subtly, then not so subtly. But Ethan had stared into far worse eyes on battlefields far from home. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't surrender an inch. Unable to force his way without drawing attention, the man eventually left, though his final glare was a promise rather than a goodbye. Ethan waited until the sound of the engine vanished into the storm before bringing Ellie out from